From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know.
And you wrote to us to say the following. This is a good one. I think we'll all enjoy this. Hey, Ben, Noel, and Matt. I'm a longtime listener since the YouTube days, but first-time writer. I love the show. Thank you for all the hard work you put into the show and creating content 5 days a week. I have a request. I recently learned about the topic of memetic warfare. That's MEMETIC, like meme. Memetic warfare is a form of psychological and political warfare using memes. Information and disinformation is spread via memes in order to persuade the public to create disunity and or discord. Memetic warfare is the more efficient and sustainable solution to traditional boots-on-the-ground warfare. The theory is that by indirectly infiltrating a nation through disinformation, this dissemination weakens the nation. Consequently, the country is divided and cannot unify behind any belief. Ben, you have touched on this topic of disinformation in regards to anti-vaccine support. It begs us to ask the question, who or what is behind a certain agenda? Is the information authentic? And how can you verify the source? Memetics ties in nicely with your recent episodes on spies. I hope you consider doing a deep dive into memetic warfare. Thank you for your balanced approach to the conspiracy realm, and happy Halloween. Anne. Happy Halloween to you, Anne. Hope you had a good one. This is something, look, it's no secret that we all of us here, Doc, Mission Control, Noel, Matt, and myself, we all enjoy a good meme. And if we see one that's especially funny, we send it to each other after hours and stuff. Sometimes we've even stopped the show to be like, hey, look at this. What was it recently? No, it was the Cthulhu turkey. Ridiculous. I was like, stop, we have to look at this.
Of the two you showed, the second one actually had a nice kind of crispy brown skin to it, and it was just the squid parts coming out, which they look pretty cooked. I like a good squid as much as the next guy, even though they are some of the most sentient, intelligent sea creatures. And apparently, if you've seen my octopus teacher, not the best thing to eat probably. But the other one, Ben, was absolute nightmare fuel. It had crab legs spilling out, like very raw looking, squishy octopus tentacles, and the turkey itself seemed very dry.
Googly eyes didn't help. But yeah, we know that memes are important, and nowadays most people in the age of the internet define a meme as, typically like a one panel thing that can recur, or it can be altered because it's part of a living conversation. But really a meme is just an element of culture or system of behavior that can be passed from one individual to another by non-genetic means. So that would be like a meme is almost any unit of an idea. If we all just started saying, I want to be positive, not negative here. If we all just, for instance, started saying, this is an old one on the show, Vibes is a great movie starring Jeff Goldblum, then we would be communicating this meme. Memes are inherently contagious. They exist to be shared. And in the age of information warfare, they have been weaponized. For Anne, I'd like to recommend an excellent article on the New York Times that answers some of your questions. Russian disinformation targets vaccines in the Biden administration. This is by Julian E. Barnes. This is just one example. The practice here is twofold. The first goal is for the Russian government to promote its own its own vaccines. And to do so, they also are pursuing the second goal, which is to discredit vaccine programs from the US and from Western Europe. And one of the reasons this stuff is so successful is because it hinges on a very simple idea. You can make people laugh and you can be anonymous through the use of memes. I mean, sure, people can slap a watermark on there. And, you know, we all have friends, I'm sure, who feel like their meme was stolen. The meme that they reposted got stolen. Okay. But what we see here is something very valuable to the world of asymmetric warfare. We've talked about asymmetric warfare in the past. The idea in its extreme is basically something like this. Let's say Matt is in charge of a country that doesn't have an aircraft carrier. Matt, would you rather spend untold billions of dollars building an outdated aircraft carrier to try to fight the 11 that the U.S. has, or
actual aircraft carrier?
Or choose wisely, my friend. Or would you rather spend, let's say, a couple hundred, 1.5 billion, building missiles that can outmaneuver and destroy an aircraft carrier?
I'm going to go with C, train dolphins to go on suicide missions. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
You're right. Option A doesn't make any sense, right? Have one aircraft carrier to defend yourself and or go on the offense against 11 or 12. Got it.
Yeah, that's the basic idea. You can leapfrog tactics, even if you can't leapfrog technology. Leapfrogging technology is when, let's say, your primary geopolitical adversary is a country run by Noel. And Noel, you are the U.S. You have 11 aircraft carriers.
Finally.
Right. You did all the research. It's almost impossible to put a price on the blood, sweat, tears, and treasure that your country has put into these. But now the secret's out, and all your hard-won research can be used against you by countries run by Matt. Matt, I'm not trying to paint you as a despot.
No, that's fine. I am. But the thing is, as soon as I develop the missiles, the aircraft killer missiles, Noel then develops the aircraft killer missile defense system, and then it just goes on and
then you
on.
develop the aircraft killer missile defense system, you know,
Offense.
and then we just or whatever. I mean, it's endless.
And then you guys unite when my spacecraft lands, and we start the whole game over again. You know what I mean?
Right.
It never ends. And so
sounds like a good time to me.
Sure it is. Time well spent.
Well, then we can start the meme campaign that's like disinfo about the whatever your thing is where you invaded. It's not real, and we just make memes about it not being real.
Right. And this is amazing because memes can be used as a form of asymmetrical warfare. They're used through front groups based in Russia. They're used through front groups based in China. Memes can be insidious in that they can also slowly radicalize people. So you could, for instance, if you wanted to, it is completely possible to get a hold of a user base or people who generally just follow what they think is a meme account. And it might have a theme, right? It might be memes for U.S. veterans or something. And then if you have control of that and you are anonymous, because the assumption by the public, by the customers or the audience rather, is that you yourself are a U.S. veteran, right? But you might not be.
But then it's like, but it's just a cartoon frog. What could be wrong with that? You know, I mean, you look at him; he's so cute, and he's smoking a cigarette and making this fun little smirk, and just saying all these veiled racist things. Wait a minute, I've been radicalized by a cartoon frog.
Yes, and there's a there's a psychological tendency that occurs. This is hardwired in humans. It is apolitical. It knows no ideology, and it is simply this: people of similar beliefs, when they hang out with one another, they tend to become, over time, more extreme in those beliefs. It does not matter what kind of belief we're talking about. Group polarization is real. And it's weird because you can see examples of it in almost any kind of forum, any kind of town hall, any kind of community. And it does not matter what we're talking about. A lot of people would instantly go to politics, right? Because we live in pretty divisive times here in the West. Part of that divisiveness, I propose, does come from the influence of foreign powers, and they are using mimetic warfare. This is taken very seriously. The RAND group, who is not perfect, but the RAND group is very intelligent. The RAND group has done a lot of work on this. You can read some of their research online right now. And they're at the level, they're taking this so seriously that their level of discourse now is not, is this happening? What would it look like? Their level of discourse is, how is this happening? What does the U.S. need to do in response? And one particular paper I read focuses on the U.S. Air Force. Like, that's how serious and concrete the problem becomes. You don't know where those memes are coming from. You really do not. And they are so easy to spoof. You know, this could be a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of idea. And the main thing that we need to remember about this sort of information warfare is that it has to build upon some kernel of pre-existing belief, right? It has to, like, if someone has serious doubts about a political candidate, or not serious doubts, but if they have some kind of reservation about a political candidate, or they have some kind of reservation about a medical treatment, that can be subjected to this group polarization, and the likes come in on Facebook, and your friends in the group chat are sharing and responding, and oh my God, I'm getting attention, I'm getting social validation. This therefore must mean I am onto something. And you're onto something, but you're in a grift. That's what's happening. People are changing your opinion without being transparent and without concern for how it may or may not benefit you. We know that due to things like Foundations of Geopolitics, the idea by Alexander Dugin, we know that the idea for a lot of powers who found themselves outmatched in conventional warfare was to resort to this weaponized information, to propaganda. And we've seen that it's tremendously influential. It is difficult to quantify. Even the New York Times article I mentioned earlier says it's incredibly difficult to figure out how much stuff is actually being produced, purpose-made, by adversarial foreign interest. But we know that this is a perfect time to be a propagandist, especially if you want to promote disunity in an adversarial power.
Oh, there was like a segment on a recent John Oliver last week tonight where he was talking about just how easy it is to, I mean, the biggest thing that I think is spreading some of the most dangerous disinformation is things that are masquerading as like infographics that have some little watermark, like it's from, you know, an agency or some kind of official source. And he just, like, I don't know, he's got some clip of somebody on YouTube showing you just how easy it is to make those on, you know, Photoshop and have them offset just so slightly and, like, you know, literally make some outrageous claim at the top, like in bold text, and have them kind of follow that infographic format. And then before you know it, you know, your grandparents are sharing it around because it has the it's not a meme, it's literally, you know, disinformation posing as some sort of legit infographic. But I've definitely seen that becoming more of a thing too.
I blame early 2000s websites, guys. I don't know if you remember back in the day when everything became a quiz or an infographic, and that's all that it was, really. Like, because we can get hits on those, and they're really shareable, and people love clicking on them.
And that's the internet our grandparents remember.
E-bombs world. And then also, well, on that note, mimetic warfare, we're talking about it on the high macro level. We're talking about this in terms of state warcraft, but it can also just be a tool of, like, common criminal organizations. Never take those Facebook quizzes. It doesn't matter what bullshit astrological sign makes your favorite croissant thing is. You can figure that out for yourself, and that information that you give can be used against you frequently enough that you should assume it is the case.
But those meta quizzes are fine. Take the meta quizzes. Those are okay.
Meta quiz?
I'm joking. Facebook just rebranded to Meta.
Oh,
without changing.
Yes, alphabet style. Got it.
And just learned there are surprise other companies named Meta. All right, Mark, go with God, but or whomever you're messing with.
Yeah, but the whole point of bringing that up, kind of in a joking way, is just to say that we have taught ourselves as humans using an internet, an interconnected set of information, to trust those things, to trust all of that, the infographics, the quick blurb that we don't even necessarily need to be cited. We just trust that it's a thing. And it doesn't matter who shares it with us or, how it gets to us. If it's a graph and it looks legitimate, it's got some numbers going up and some numbers going down. Oh, this must be real.
Yeah, and U.S. mass media is also very into this. There are plenty of examples from any of your favorite channels, unfortunately, of graphs that visually, if you just glance at them while they're on the screen for say 5 to 10 seconds, they appear to be supporting whatever the anchor or self-appointed pundit/expert is saying. But if you looked at the sources and you actually read the report, then you would see, hey, that bar on the graph that says 30% should actually be higher or larger, taller than that other bar that says 15%. So why do they not match? And the clever thing about that is, if you are the producer of those bad faith attempts, you can always go back and say, oh yeah, that was our bad. That was our good eye, bro, because you've been caught by one person out of thousands. So the effect is the same. I do believe this is a full episode, and it's important, as Fox would say, now more than ever. And in the meantime, I highly recommend looking into an experiment the Taiwanese government did, or a kind of a war game, where they had memetic engineering teams in every government department try to combat disinfo efforts, which, Taiwan is getting most of their disinfo assaults from mainland China. But what these teams did is they had 60 minutes to respond to disinfo by using an approach they call humor over rumor. So clowning people, because the internet loves clowning people. We could be teaching them, but we're more into clowning them as a civilization. Also check out Evolutionary Psychology, Memes, and the Origin of War by Keith Henson. And stay tuned, because we'd love to make this an episode in the near future. In the meantime, tell us your favorite memes. Tell us the most dangerous memes. Tell us your take on memetic warfare. Is it overblown, or is it even more dangerous than experts believe? 1-833-STD-WYTK or conspiracy@iheartradio.com. We're going to pause to share some dank memes, and then we'll be back